Dang, how you had so fast, royal hood with some soul trends. Good girl, platinum mochi on my team. When I hang, you hear the echoes when bass scream. Living that bay life, it's alright. You feeling depressed and go outside. The weed and the season make these hard times. Worth every time you spend, no life. Better take a staycation to Santa Cruz. To a car, I got drank. Bring the shoe, bring the speaker for the slap. Set the mood.
That's okay. Oh, y'all. Anywho, I like that song. I like that song a lot. Hi, welcome to my channel. We're going to go over Love and Hip Hop Miami. They're going to go over season 5, episode 12, which is the season finale. Hallelujah. Listen, we about to have church because I'm so glad that this
shit is over. Yes.
I really am.
Oh,
I really am. Anywho, let's jump right into the episode. For those who like the song, some people have been messaging me, I like the song. And my husband gets so happy. It's my husband, also best. Feel free to check him out. We have a finale to me that did not feel like a finale. The only part of this finale that felt like it was a season finale was the end where they showed everyone's updates, what they're doing or where they'll be going, their updates. So other than that, it just felt like another episode of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. But getting into it, Trina, Joy, and Bobby all meet up, and we find out, which I was aware of, I think a lot of people are aware of because it hit the tabloids and social media, that Trina did face backlash for the comments that she made about Gael and Flo. I don't know why I could not remember her name. She made a comment alleging that they are voodoo bitches, which is offensive to the Haitian community. For those who aren't sure, voodoo in multiple communities, whether it's Haitian communities, Creole communities, or other areas and communities I may not be mentioning, voodoo is sacred to them. Some people view it as almost like a form of religion. So this is why it's important not to speak on things that you have no knowledge of or deep understanding. So I will say that. And Trina, you have been in the industry since I was a child, and I'm 31. So you should know that, being that you're from Miami, where there's a huge Haitian community and always has been. You should know better than to use that term. If you've heard something used as a slur or that is offensive to a race, a culture, or a certain type of people, you should not use it either, because it will be taken that way. So Trina says that she attacked Flo, not the culture. And like I said, being from Miami and that Trina grew up there, she knows about Haitian culture. It's a big deal down there. And when you attack someone and mention elements of their culture, then you are attacking that culture, not just that person. So just take accountability, Trina, and move on. Like, you're not going to get canceled. That's obvious. But Trina has had a couple of situations over, honestly, since the pandemic started to now online, where she's had to go ghost, go silent. If there's not someone passing away or dying in her family or that she knows, then she seems to be in some shit, getting canceled or pissing off certain communities. So this is why we've been saying for a season that Trina needs to heal, because she's getting to a point where I'm seeing the comments, people don't like watching her, people are tired of hearing her and dealing with her. And I think that she's past this show. I don't think she needs to be on Love and Hip Hop. She doesn't want to talk to nobody, interact with nobody. She gets mad at these people. She takes money for things and is not showing up to events. It's a bad look for Trina at this point. She needs to leave the show, in my opinion, to save face. So moving on, before we finish that, Trina did say that she spoke to community leaders in the Haitian community. She said she spoke to leaders within that community. I Googled it. I said, do they have people in there? So what I saw is in Miami and South Florida, it looks like kind of like a Senate seat in politics, congressmen, things like that. It looks like they have leaderships for leaders for certain groups of people in the community. Dealing and meeting with those leaders probably means nothing, because most people in politics are the people furthest connected from their community, even if it appears that they are, and at least here in California. So, I will leave it there. Moving on, we see Zoe meet with Super Cindy, and Super Cindy has Wyclef, and I'm not about to explain to y'all who Wyclef is. If you
I was going to say, don't you dare.
You do not
that
know
is legendary.
Who Wyclef is, then you are failing yourself, because I'm going to tell you this. Teddy Pendergrass, Luther Vandross. You know, these are people who were not popular for my generation, but they are old school, oldies, people before us. We still should know that, of course, as people listening to music. So I hope y'all know who Wyclef is. I'm pretty sure most people do. Anywho, we see Zoe as she spits Wyclef bars. She spits a freestyle that was not a freestyle. My husband's a rapper and be watching these episodes with me. He was like, oh, that's the same verse she spit from the Cypher. I said, Josiah. He said, it's true. He was like, I need to do that because he'd be stressed out about freestyle. He said, let me just remember 3 verses that I'll always recite when people ask me to. I said, go to bed. But he does point that out. But I felt like, the reason I bring it up, I felt like she spit better for Wyclef than she did at that goofy ass Cypher. I feel like she did a better job. There was more cadence. It was just better. Anywho, check me out. I do song reviews, y'all. Moving on. She was feeling down because Sukihana did not show up to her video shoot. And she was almost kicked off this Queens whatever project.
Whatever it is, yeah.
You know, I was like, don't trip off of Sukihana, Zoe. And I hate to say this, but Sukihana has no talent. She doesn't. She can't rap. She doesn't sing. And anything that she does without an engineer, nobody's going to want to hear it. It's a fact. I'm not being a bitch. Okay. So I don't think you should trip off of Sukihana because the only thing she could have brought you were fans and a fan base that you may not want because they're accustomed to listening to.
Literally, her most recent song is her saying the same thing 45 times. So I'm like, you know.
And I know she has a song with Sexy Red, but personally, I feel Sexy Red's an industry plant. I don't think she has any talent either. But, you know.
So that's why I was like, girl, look, you all right. You don't need
don't cry.
You don't need nobody like that. Like, if you have more talent.
When you're singing and could be, Zoe sings, she raps, she writes, she does hair. She's basically a little Misdemeanor Elliott, damn near. Like she could be something so good, but Zoe's attitude is in her way. Anyhow, I just got a text from Leona. She says, after you and James's recap, I'm watching Basketball Wives Orlando now from the beginning. I gotta catch up. I'm cracking up. Catch our recaps every week. So the next thing we see is Safaree, and he's having a back to school event, which is good for him to do. And Amara basically comes, and it feels like an image repair. She explained the situation.
I agree.
Amara explains the situation. And for those who did not watch the episode or the last recap, because I know some people find out what's happening just by watching these recaps, Amara La Negra was outed on the last episode by Gunplay's wife, Von Shay, because Amara went and liked the comment that a fan left saying that Von Shay should not have asked for a GoFundMe. The person commented that Von Shay and Gunplay's child should not have lived. I don't even want to say it. It was really cruel.
Yeah, but that's really
Amara laughed at that comment. She reacted by laughing at that comment, and that would piss anybody off. So now she's catching, the back end of it. And Amara plays a victim and she takes no accountability. And what I need people to understand is this. When you work in management in any job, or if you are a leader in any job, whether you work for yourself or for other people, let me tell you this. If my staff did not perform the correct way, even though I'm not the one who did it, I got blamed as a store manager. So when your name is on something, when you are the leader of something, similar if you have kids and your kids act up in public, people not judging the kids, they judge the parent.
Right.
So it's the same thing when it comes to Amara. We understand that social media managers exist. I'm looking into hiring one personally. I get that. However, you are responsible for everything that person does on your social media because you hired them to post in a way that looks as though it's you, not us. So you can't use the excuse of, oh, that was my social media manager when something happens. Amara, you laughed at that comment because you were mad at that girl and you need to apologize and just say it was a lapse in judgment. I know that you did it, and if you didn't, you're responsible for it. So then we get the fake breakup. We know the relationship was never a thing. People are like, I don't know why she playing. People are dumb. I I noticed that when looking at the comments of those who watch Love and Hip Hop on IG, people really are still acting as if this is real. It's not. I don't.
I don't know what rock y'all live under.
But the reality TV is partially reality, but they do often have them reenact things. There's no way they're catching all of these big moments on camera and perfection constantly. No, there's stuff that goes into it. People who are hired to work on these shows have spoke on it. So believe what you want to believe, but I'm not discussing their breakup because I didn't think they were ever together. I thought from the entire time that this relationship was fake. It's facts. So moving on, we see Von Shay and Shay, and they speak about Gunplay's arrest. For those who are unsure, Gunplay was arrested for pointing a gun at Osuna and Von Shay, that is his wife and daughter. He has been struggling, we find out, with substance. We know he's always struggled and that he's problematic. He's pretty much been battling addiction for decades. But Von Shay is only 24. She's young, she's gullible, and she's at the age where she thinks that she knows so much just because, you know, she's like, I'm halfway a full adult, but no, you're not. She should have never got with him. And she speaks on that in her confessional. She's like, I saw the red flags. I should have acknowledged them. And that confirmed what James has thought, that she was trying to sabotage her schooling and all of that. She's like, you know, I have my PhD. I'm smart, but, you know, but I knew this. So you admit you knew what you were getting. So we're not going to feel sorry for you, boo. So I don't support domestic violence at all. I don't think it's okay under any circumstance. And I encourage any woman watching this who knows someone or is experiencing domestic violence to contact resources. Google domestic violence resources. There are helplines that you can call that are national, and almost every state has free domestic violence shelters that you can find in secret. So if you're in something like that, get out. But Von Shay, unlike a lot of other women, you knew what you were getting. From examples from his exes, throwing that chair at Kiara on camera years ago, to the tabloids, to what he's telling you. You knew what you were getting. And now you want us to feel sorry for you because what you chose did not go in the direction that you want. Woman up, sis. You have
the thing
that
about
PhD.
it is you don't understand. You acting out as well in response to your husband doing all of this is what's going to stop you, because you have to understand when you get a PhD, you have a huge responsibility that follows that. And when you act reckless like you're doing right now, that's going to then stop the flow of you actually working hard for that degree.
Yeah.
No police department's going to hire you.
Nope.
No law office is going to hire you, because all they have to do is Google you, and what's going to come up is you acting a fool at someone else's party, or you responding to someone talking about, you know, like your child, which was fucked up. Yes, we totally get that. But that's not what these people in these positions are going to look at. They're going to look at how you responded to it.
I think she has to be careful, because even with, I think as Black people, we have to be careful, especially what we put out there and how we show, because there's already stereotypes, stigmas, targets that we have. And Von Shay knows that. She's very aware of it. Her parents obviously know, which is why they pushed her so hard. But, you know, it is what it is. I was happy to see her family is, you know, supporting her and willing to help her, not beating her up. And maybe this will help them to be closer. But to explain to everybody what she says happened, her version of events, she explained that the fight started because she asked Gunplay to turn his video game down. When she asked him to do this, he was streaming, because I saw his little capture card. I have one of them I need to use, but I don't. And, you know, he looked erratic. He did not look sober when she asked him to do that. So after he gets off the game, it turns into a bigger issue, and they argue, and basically he snapped, gets mad, pulls a gun on them, and all types of stuff. So she says that when this happened, he was drunk, and he had also been on coke. She claims that he just started doing coke like a month prior, but I think that he's been doing this from her frustration. And she's probably just trying to clean up what she can. So she runs out of the house after that happened with the baby, and she called the police and her parents. She did tell this to Shay. I do think that this was traumatizing for Von Shay, because she did grow up sheltered and with a family that had money. Her family's educated. They are the Black dream, honestly. So, you know, to some, but where they failed is you gotta make sure your kid has street smarts and discernment, as James says. You really do. You can give them everything, but you're going to shelter them because you can give them everything and they're still going to have to deal with people who've had nothing. That's how the world works. So her parents didn't prepare her, in my opinion. But that is what happened with Von Shay and Gunplay, according to her. So she tells this to Shay, and then she's like, well, distract me. And Shay's like, I don't want to talk to you about my problems. What you got going on bigger? Now, I want to say this. Me and my husband were looking at Bucky, and we was like, why is she in this hat? When she was talking to Von Shay, she was in like this almost like a costume Playboy pinup.
It was like, yeah.
I was like, this really what you wore, Shay? That's why you could only attract a man like Fabo. We got to get Shay on Say Yes to the Dress, or well, no, she don't have nobody to get a dress with. So
I was gonna say, girl,
we need R.I.P. to Joan Rivers. I wish Fashion Police was still around because they would be snatching Shay's ass up for that hat.
I feel like between her and the 55-pound wigs and literally either the box cut shorts, it's like, where do you be going? Like, I get that's how they dress down here, but it's like, you on TV. I want y'all to understand this. Y'all are on someone's network program. Dress to impress. Less is always best.
Mm-hmm.
And I did this because you need to stop doing this with this hair.
She stressed me out. So
I want her to get a little shortcut. I do, because I feel like she would look cute with it.
Shay had a shortcut and looked a hot mess when she was with Scrappy at their reunion. She did the
No, that wasn't no. That's not what I'm talking about. I
weave.
want her to do a Fantasia, not Big Bird.
I don't think that would look great either.
You don't think it look great?
No, I don't. I just not on Shay. No. Shay just needs, I don't know what she needs, but I'm tired of her hair. But Shay expresses that Fabo was gone. They not together. It took her forever. It took her allowing this man to disrespect her mama, her brother, her friends, her daughter, herself, the air, the beach, the stolen Tesla. It took, I don't know, maybe Shay saw Flavor Flav and Fabo, but they are no longer together and we don't care. And honestly, you owe your mother, and I did see that Shay did this, but you owe your mom 20 more public apologies. You went on TV for years, went on Iyanla, went off, disrespected Iyanla and some more people. It seems to be your family gets along and you just the one little problem. But listen, Shay, you need to continue to apologize to your mom and lift her up. Because I wish I had a parent, and I think a lot of people who had fucked up parents, or even people who have parents they love, but I'm sure everybody wishes they could say to their parent, you know, you did this wrong and I didn't appreciate that. You hurt me. That's fucked up. And they parent go and correct the wrongs, try to make it right, and then still try to be respectful. You have a parent that actually tried, actually heard you, apologized, went to therapy, and you allowed this woman to just be disrespected over a nigga who gave you a Tesla that's not in your name. And I cannot. But I am happy to see that Shay and her mom are okay. I am happy to see that she did not allow this man to get involved with her family. And it's interesting that she brings all of this out about Fabo, and we finally get a little more into Shay's personal life, and now there's no reunion. So you can't even be questioned on your choice to date Fabo, which I'm not letting her ass off the hook. That man had, 6 kids, they say? An ex-wife, so he got the kids in Jamaica, an ex-wife, and the kids with a woman that's in.
We tried to do the math for this already. Don't even know.
I'm not doing the math, but I'm just gonna say because the season's ended. We ain't forgot, Shay. The fans ain't forgot. You think you got away with this shit because there's no reunion. But if there's another season of this show, and if they bring your black ass back, you better be willing to be real and talk about the shit. You obviously got with that man while he was with another woman. And you say you dealt with him for 10 years. Now, if it was just a new guy, fine. But I'm on your ass like white on rice, Shay. That's not cool. Watch how you get him, because it looked like the same way you got him is the same way you lost him. That's all I'm going to say. So moving on.
She never really had him to begin with. So, we really want to be real about it.
This is actually true.
She never had him to begin with. And that's why I'm like,
don't have a baby with nobody who can't give you a commitment.
Right. Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm saying. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think you got?
She
What
didn't
prize
think.
did you think you
She
won?
did not think. She did not think. She did not think, James. She just did it. So moving on, we see Trick, Ray J, and Safaree meet up and speak about some things. And my husband was laughing at me for this note. And what I was going to say, he was like, what are you going to say about this? They're all slow. Moving on. We see Super Cindy and Sukihana talk about their previous encounter. James is like, did she really keep going? She did. So when they're talking about, I'm not entertaining Trick Daddy, I'm not entertaining Ray J, and I'm not entertaining Safaree. Safaree bounces from franchise to franchise of Love and Hip Hop, dating whoever will keep him on TV. I'm convinced. Trick Daddy is a joke and needs to take his medication for his lupus and go get some CeraVe for that skin. And Ray J, what happened to your gambling wife and need to be a better... Anywho, so Super Cindy and Sukihana talk, and they speak about the previous encounter where Super Cindy was interviewing Suki, and she was asking her the same questions that hundreds and thousands of other people online and who are in the industry have asked her. And Suki decided to go off and act a fool with Super Cindy because that's someone she knows. And I think that she felt like it wouldn't fuck up her reputation. Sukihana's a bully. I said it. I'm going to say it again. So they basically, Super Cindy explains that she's been in radio for over 20 years and that no one has ever behaved like Sukihana on her show. And I looked her up after she said that because I am not from Florida. I have been in the Bay Area, California from the moment I was born at Highland Hospital to now. And I hope that I can get out of here soon. But she explains that, and I looked it up, and apparently Super Cindy, as James has told me, not that I didn't believe him, she really is legit. Like, she's like y'all's Chewy Gomez, Sana G. Like, she's, and those are the radio personalities here in the Bay, but she's legit. So I get that, and I thought that was a good point to bring up. Like, maybe you were triggered, Suki, because this has never happened before. So Suki says that other interviews are irrelevant. They're not, because you're saying yourself that the reason you went off on this lady is because people keep asking you in interviews about this stuff. So they obviously triggered you to where you went off. So they are relevant, dummy.
I mean, she didn't think that through.
Suki doesn't think. She doesn't think.
She didn't think that through. You didn't think that you just contradicted yourself in this argument that you thought you won.
She's a hot mess.
Yeah, she is.
She's a hot mess. So
it's crazy.
You know, Super Cindy sits there calmly explaining it to her as a classy woman does. And Suki basically calmed down after Super Cindy was like, why? Because I'm not ratchet. And then Suki was like, oh, I could switch it back in this way. So what you trying to say? I'm ratchet? You admit to being ratchet. You advertise yourself as that, Suki. You have no argument. And you act like a ratchet classless hoe. You cannot be mad when people ask you questions about what it's like to be a ratchet classless hoe. You can't feel that way. You just can't. So Super Cindy basically, in my opinion, was right. And what we see next is Suki goes off when Super Cindy is walked out and Suki follows her. Super Cindy's like, you don't do people good. You don't do right by people. Zoe's upset that you didn't show up to the video that you said that you would show up to. And that sets Suki off. So I'm just going to say what I said on Instagram to wrap up this scene with these two. They're not going to make resolution. And people have been liking my little comment on the Love and Hip Hop Instagram page. And I said, both Super Cindy and Suki have valid points because they had a friendship. However, I am siding more with Cindy because the questions that are asked of Suki are based on what Suki puts out and does in public. Also, Sukihana, you are not in the hood no more, so you have to act differently. What you fail to realize is what's respected in the hood is not always respected outside of the hood. When you advertise yourself as a hood ratchet that's sexually open, you cannot get mad that people ask you questions about it. So that is where I stand with that issue. If you feel any differently, please let me know.
I don't feel any differently. That is exactly my sentiment.
That's pretty much what it is. You got what you asked for and you got what you gave, Suki. So get over it, grow up, and act like a lady. Because if your daughters do the same shit that you're doing, I guarantee you would not be proud. Leave it there. So the next thing we see is Amara's beauty event. I didn't even realize Amara had beauty anything, and I follow her on Instagram for years. So I'm like, okay, I thought she was doing music, but I guess she's getting into beauty stuff. She realizes the music won't work with her. And I just want to say Amara's music career could have worked but she gave us R&B. Then she gave us pop. Then she gave us the Spanish stuff.
Yeah, her direction was weird.
Her management fucked her with that. So we basically see at Amara's event, Eliza Rain comes back and Amara explains to her of her and Safaree's fake breakup. And Amara says that she is shocked that Ratchet tried to ruin her reputation. The next thing we see is Zoe Brinks comes in and we see Crazy Flo and Crazy Gael. Trina just called them crazy, not voodoo bitches, because they're crazy. They can't refute that. The next thing we see after that, apologies for the noise in the background. My husband works nights, so he's getting ready to dip. So if you're hearing a constant alarm or anything, I apologize. So we see Bobby Lights and Trina come in. Amara is cool with much of the cast, so it's an event where people who don't like each other are going to be forced to come together, and everything is fine. Trina's like, oh, I see these bitches, but I'm going to stay on my lane. But Bobby Lights, who's on House of Villains, which we recap on James's channel. I encourage you guys to check that out. There's a playlist for it on my channel. But he goes off on Amara. He's upset because she invited Gael and Flo. I don't like people like that. Bobby, you need to fucking relax. You need to relax.
That was doing way too
You're
much.
doing too much. Did you call
Way
her
too
and
much.
ask who's going to be at her event? You know Amara for years. You know she's cool with all these people. And Amara, I just didn't understand this. So basically, Amara ends up, when they try talking, because Bobby's hollering, and then Gael gets to hollering. I think Bobby and Gael are equally crazy and would be great friends, by the way. Anywho, they are one and the same.
Right.
Gael's like, my sister, the same sister who has children, and you slept with the father of your nieces.
I'm trying to tell you, and y'all can kiss my ass when I tell y'all about how wrong that shit is and how we're sitting up here. Yes, I'm talking about her and I'm talking about her sister and her sleeping with her sister's husband. That is not cool. I don't care which way you sleep, and you can't now defend your sister after you didn't cross all leaps and bounds and boundaries. You can't do that now. So why are you just looking a fool on TV? I'm about sick of looking at you.
So yeah, I pretty much agree with what James is saying. Those two argue. Amara ends up regulating. Her voice got loud. Like I could tell she legit was like, wait a minute. I think Amara's getting tired of this show. I think she realizes that it's been keeping her career down because she actually has talent, but we haven't seen it really since season 2 because of all the bullshit. So moving forward, Amara regulates and she says Flo and Trina need to talk and nobody else. And I can't understand why Flo's sister keeps going off and Flo just stands there. She never checks her. She just stands there. I don't get it. So Trina ends up leaving. And she was pissed. She's getting in the car. I had somebody beat that bitch up for real. Trina, shut up. We don't know why you're on this show. And I'm sorry. We're at the end of the season. All Trina has done is complain about having to be at events, complain about having to go places, not show up for people, but take their money for things. You know, she's behaved shitty. And from what I'm seeing online, and even some artists I've met in my song reviews who have paid her for features don't have them. So I feel like Trina needs to get away from reality TV and focus on being the boss and bad bitch that she is and the legend that she is. She is above all of this. No shade. Trina and Sukihana should not be in the same caliber. Kind of like you don't affiliate Megan Thee Stallion with or Cardi B with rappers like Sexy Red and Sukihana. The difference is some can rap, some cannot. So I'm just over it with that. So the last thing we see on this show, y'all, we are at the end, is Trina filming the music video for one of the songs from the Queen's Don't Compete album. We see Chameleon, who James was asking about a few times earlier.
I know. I was so happy to see her. Oh my God. That made me so happy because she was my favorite.
I liked Chameleon. I did. I didn't fully care for Sukihana, but I thought Sukihana was fun at first, but now she's gotten out of hand with the ratchetness. Chameleon, kudos to you for sticking to who you are and not doing all this extra shit that Suki has done. Because I see you. You wasn't on camera. She said, I didn't renew my contract, but I'm working. So I see you, boo. I see you, and that's what you do. Because unfortunately, I don't think Love and Hip Hop is the place anymore to go to get big. We're not going to have any more Cardi B's and K Michelle's. We're not going to get that.
Right,
So,
exactly.
like, we need to accept it. So, basically, we see Flo in a separate scene, and this is just the exits and updates, you guys. We're at the end. So, Trina's filming a video, working on her project. I don't know why Super Cindy was in the video. Apparently, I've heard that she used to rap or whatever, but it is what it is. But she was there. Flo admits that Gael and Claudia messed things up for her. I don't want to see Flo on my TV anymore. I'm sick of her. I'm genuinely sick of her. We see Zoe's working, and she says she's going to stay focused. We see Suki, who has complained all season about being not taken seriously and people only looking at her for the sex or as this ratchet chick, and she's having a protest, a coochie protest of some sort. I can't take you seriously when you're joking about consent. I am a survivor of sexual assault. I am not ashamed of it. I have gone to therapy, but I did take personal offense to that. Consent is a big thing and it's important. Someone violated my consent, but someone violated my consent when I did not put myself out there in the way that Suki does. Now, consent should never be violated, but for her to like be taking it and seeming to want to like make $1 off of the little bit of empathy that people had after that YK Osiris kissed her, I'm over it. I'm tired of Sukihana. Can somebody please get her on a XXL cipher so we can see if she can rap? That's all I want to know. So then the last things we see is Trick Daddy struggling with them damn Hollywood twins. I don't care for them to come back either. I don't think James does either because he just touched his head when they were mentioned.
Because I forgot. I didn't see that part, so I forgot about them.
There's nothing to remember. They're crazy.
Yeah.
Trina was laughing at him like, you ain't never, their mentor, they want Trina to look at them. They want to be bigger. She was laughing at Trick for having to deal with them. And honestly, we all are. Trick Daddy, it's time for him to leave the show. He has no storyline. He's going to be a joke. Him and Joy are never divorcing. We need them both gone. I don't care. Last thing we see is Ray J and Princess. I'm not going over it. They were a joke with a fake storyline. And Safaree and Amara's life comes up as the second to last thing they show us. And I was glad VH1 did that because she mentioned that it was fake. And the cast is trying to defend it. I feel like the network didn't like that they were called out and that threw them off. So they did what they could to save it. But we already know, VH1, that most of what you show us is fake. A lot of these people do stuff just because your cameras are present, and you guys really need to do better with how you handle these shows. So the very last thing we see of season 5 of Love and Hip Hop Miami, the shit show that it was, is Shay. She not with Fabo. No shade, but anybody I see with Shay, I see Shay with on TV, I know that by the end of the season, they won't be together.
Because he's going to go back to the actual girlfriend.
Yeah. Fabo's probably back with his wife. So, and he probably took the Tesla with him. So that is my recap with Watch Your Mouth reviews of Love and Hip Hop Miami season 5 as a whole, but this was for episode 12. I don't know. I did want to say that I was discussing it with my husband. I am a 31-year-old woman and counting. I am a mature adult. I also just achieved a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, and I will be enrolling to go for a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. So what that means is I have to apply for licenses and things to practice in my field, in my state. And so I have to be careful what I comment on online. I have to become careful with what I do. So I don't know if I will recap Love and Hip Hop Miami or Atlanta on their next seasons. I'm letting you guys know now. If I do, I'll obviously make a flyer, but I don't know. I can't deal with racism and abuse and all this extra stuff. I don't think it's doing anything positive for the Black community, which I stand by. So I won't be doing that. In the meantime, what will be taking the place of Love and Hip Hop Miami will be Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We will recap episodes 1 and 2 tomorrow. I would like to recap it on Thursdays, but I'm going to do Mondays because scheduling, it just works better. I have too much that happens on Thursday, and so does James. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. I hope you subscribe to both channels, and thank you for watching. Good night, James. Enjoy your beauty rest.
Good night. I really will. Bye. Bye.